Our top story now, new satellite images tweeted out by a global researcher on Chinese military development show purported construction of Chinese villages in Bhutanese territory now. The area lies on disputed land between Bhutan and China near Doklam that showed construction activity in the period between 2020 and 2021. Vishnu Shom brings us the details.
These images have actually come out in a tweet by Detresfa, somebody who follows the India-China boundary dispute very, very closely, and also the entire region including Bhutan, who's accessed high-resolution satellite images. Let's change the image. This is for the Intel Lab. The Intel Lab is a collection of some very OSINT workers who look at intelligence science, who look at satellite imagery and piece together what they are seeing on the basis of that. And the bottom line over here is that India has been a net security provider for Bhutan, but that situation started changing over the last several years. In 2017, India and China had a standoff in the Doklam region, which is just a little to the southwest of this particular area, where China has sliced off a massive amount of the land of Bhutan in territory which it claims but Bhutan disputes. But in 2017, India and China had the Doklam dispute. India stopped China's road building activity, but that didn't appear to stop China at all. Last year we reported about how the Chinese had bypassed Indian defenses to have road and village construction a short distance away, cutting through Bhutanese territory. There are also clear signs now that Thimphu has had no option and that they've given in to what China has demanded, that there is some sort of a larger agreement which has been reached. What is that larger agreement? What are the contours of that? We do not know.
All right, let's focus now on air pollution crisis. And at the hearing on air pollution in the Supreme Court, the court said that Delhi is choking and asked for emergency measures. The government must persuade farmers against stubble burning, the Supreme Court said, as it stressed that it does not want to punish them. The Chief Justice of India said that people sitting in five-star hotels in Delhi blame farmers.
Delhi is choking. The Supreme Court said this today as it pulled up the central and state governments for their inaction in tackling the air pollution disaster year after year. A three-judge special bench led by the Chief Justice, while hearing Delhi student Aditya Dubey's plea seeking court monitoring of Delhi NCR pollution, said, "The bureaucracy has developed an inertia. They want everything to be done by the court, from water sprinkling to stopping fires and so on. It is unfortunate. Every year in October and November, the Supreme Court is compelled to take steps when Delhi starts choking. Delhi government banned firecrackers. The onus is on them to implement it. Can you deny that firecrackers have been used in the last 5 to 6 days?
उन्होंने अल्टीमेटम कराया और मंडे को मैटर लगाया कि 2 दिन के अंदर सख्त से सख्त कार्रवाई की जाए, सो दैट पोजीशन काबू नियंत्रण में आ जाए.
A key argument today was the contribution of stubble burning, primarily in Punjab and Haryana. The centre today said it was wrongly accused by the petitioner of misleading the court and said the figure is 35 to 40% for October and November. On Monday, the centre's lawyer said it was 10% and its affidavit puts it even lower. The Delhi government argues stubble burning contributes to more than half of the capital's pollution, but the court rejected these arguments. We do not want to penalize the farmers. Debates on TV are causing more pollution than any other source. Everyone has their own agenda there. Here we are trying to find solutions. The court also said, irrespective of figures in the affidavit, the plight of farmers remains unresolved. Nobody is concerned about what compels them to burn stubble. People sitting in five-star hotels in Delhi blame farmers. The Punjab government has left the farmers upon the mercy of God and has told them to stop burning the stubble, but provided no alternative. Delhi government keeps quoting Pusa Research Institute study, but there are already reports saying that the method is a failure. The court has also asked the central government to consider providing common pick-up and drop services to its employees and asked Delhi government to add more CNG buses in order to reduce the number of private vehicles on the roads.
The next hearing of the case will take place on Tuesday. Till then, the Supreme Court has asked the centre as well as state governments to comply with all the measures that have been declared by the Commission for Air Quality Management. In New Delhi with camera person Sushil Rathi, this is Sukirti Dwivedi for NDTV.
Now, the Commission for Delhi's Air Quality Management has passed emergency order to address the pollution crisis, but none of the measures announced are new. Many governments over the years have committed to similar measures, but the follow-through and implementation have lagged. Here's a special report.
Business takes a back seat as emergency action is announced in a late-night decision, all to cut the terrible air pollution in and around the capital. But the irony is that this may have been avoidable if various governments and agencies had just followed policies and promises in place for years. 6 power plants have been stopped now, but back in 2015, the Supreme Court had ordered that coal-powered plants reduce their emissions within 2 years. But still, the standards have not been met.
That standard, was to be implemented in a period of 2 years by 2017. But in 2017, nothing happened and they kicked the can down the road and it ended up getting a 5-year extension 2022. And then earlier this year, that has further been diluted now to 2025, in a staggered or a phased manner.
The government has now ordered 1,000 buses, as vehicular pollution is about a third of Delhi's pollution. But the total number of buses have remained far below what the Supreme Court ordered over 20 years ago. Over 20 years ago, the Supreme Court said that Delhi needs 11,000 buses. The need since then has only increased. Now, till date, there are about 8,500 buses in Delhi, and that is including 1,000 private buses that the Delhi government says they have rented as an emergency measure.
हम तो चाहते हैं या तो बसें बढ़ाई जाए, बसें नहीं बढ़ा सकते हैं तो थोड़ी सी छूट दी जाए, क्योंकि हमें भी अच्छा नहीं लगता सवारियों को बार-बार मना करें और बार-बार उतारा जाए। कि कोई कहता है हम 1 घंटे से खड़े हैं, कोई कहता है हम 2 घंटे से खड़े हैं, कोई कहता है हम आधा घंटे से खड़े हैं, कोई कहता है हम लेट हो रहे हैं, कोई कहता है हम बीमारी के लिए मारे हैं, हम अस्पताल में जाना है, हम लेट हो रहे हैं।
Another festering cause for Delhi's pollution is its massive dumps of unsegregated waste, like this one in Ghazipur. Wet waste releases methane and can cause dry waste to catch fire, which releases noxious fumes into the air. Disposing unsegregated waste was banned here in 2016. But as you can see, this mountain is only getting bigger and segregation is still not enforced. Government response to stubble burning has followed a similar pattern. The government has provided 86,550 stubble removing machines, 31,000 in Punjab alone, but only a third have been used there. With Mohammad Ghazali and Azam Siddiqui, Meher Pandey for NDTV.
News now from battleground Uttar Pradesh, and Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav was on Rath Yatra 2.0, which drew a huge crowd. He spoke with NDTV Srinivasan Jain and said if the party decides, then he would fight the election. He also hit out over claims that Gunda Raj would return if the Samajwadi Party came to power.
But crowds हैं, लेकिन अखिलेश वाकई क्या आप बीजेपी को सीरियसली मानते हैं कि आप सीरियसली टक्कर दे पाएंगे बीजेपी को? बिकॉज लास्ट टाइम 300 सीट्स उनको मिल गए, 40% वोट शेयर, आप सिर्फ 50 से कम थे।
सवाल ये नहीं है, सवाल ये है कि इस गाजीपुर बॉर्डर से लेकर के और वो गाजीपुर का बॉर्डर, वहां तक भारतीय जनता पार्टी का सफाया इसलिए होगा कि इन्होंने किसानों के ऊपर जीप चला दी। कोई सोच सकता है कि किसानों की हत्या कर दी जाए जीप चढ़ा करके? उत्तर प्रदेश की जनता हाथरस की बेटी को नहीं भूले हैं, कस्टोडियल डेथ है, अपमानित हो रहे हैं लोग, लोगों के साथ जिस तरह का व्यवहार होना चाहिए था, इनकी जेब काटी जा रही है। डीजल पेट्रोल की जो कीमतें महंगी हुई हैं, क्या इनकी जेब नहीं काटी जा रही है? पिछले क्वार्टर में ओएनजीसी को लगभग 600 गुना मुनाफा हुआ। आखिरकार गरीब की जेब काट करके मुनाफा हो रहा है।
लेकिन जो मोदी जी कह रहे हैं कि समाजवादी पार्टी की सरकार आएगी तो दोबारा गुंडा राज होगा, अत्याचार होगा, बाहुबलियों का राज होगा।
क्या भारतीय जनता पार्टी को नहीं पता कि कल जो पैदल चलने वाले मुख्यमंत्री थे, कितने मुकदमे उनके ऊपर? क्या मुख्यमंत्री कोई देश का मुख्यमंत्री ऐसा होगा जिसने अपने मुकदमे वापस लिए हों? ये पहले मुख्यमंत्री हैं जिन्होंने अपने मुकदमे वापस लिए हैं। और मैं आपको कह के जा रहा हूँ कि इसी पूर्वांचल से, और इन्होंने दरवाजा खोला था बीजेपी का, इन्होंने बीजेपी का दरवाजा खोला था, यही दरवाजा बीजेपी का बंद करने जा रहे हैं।
तो ऐसा बयान क्यों आया था कि आप इलेक्शन नहीं लड़ रहे हैं?
वो बयान तोड़ मरोड़ के लिखा गया था। आने वाले समय में समाजवादी पार्टी तय करेगी तो मैं चुनाव लड़ूंगा।
आप लड़ रहे हैं चुनाव या नहीं? सीधा
पार्टी तय करेगी तो मैं चुनाव लड़ूंगा,
अदरवाइज
चुनाव लड़ूंगा पार्टी कहेगी तो।
आप क्या चाहते हैं?
नहीं, मैं क्या चाहता हूँ सवाल ये नहीं है। मैं ये चाहता हूँ कि उत्तर प्रदेश से भारतीय जनता पार्टी का सफाया हो।
All right, and staying with Uttar Pradesh, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra interacted with women by the Ganga. This was in the Chitrakoot district of the state. Listen in.
कब तक आस लगाओगी तुम बिके हुए अखबारों से? इसका मतलब है कि तुम्हारी लड़ाई लड़ने के लिए कोई नहीं आ रहा है। तुम कब तक आस लगाओगी कि तुम्हारी आवाज कोई और उठाएगा? कैसी रक्षा मांग रही हो दुशासन दरबारों से? मतलब कि तुम कैसी रक्षा मांग रही हो उन लोगों से जो तुम्हारी रक्षा करेंगे ही नहीं, जो तुम्हारा अत्याचार कर रहे हैं, जो तुम्हारा शोषण कर रहे हैं।
In other news now, Trinamool Congress MP Mahua Moitra moved the Supreme Court against the centre's ordinance to extend the tenure of directors of the CBI and Enforcement Directorate, arguing that they are an attack on the impartiality of the probe agencies. The chiefs of the two central agencies had a 2-year tenure, which can now be extended up to 5 years. They can be given 3 extensions of a year each after they complete the 2-year term. Earlier on Wednesday, Enforcement Directorate Sanjay Kumar Mishra, who was to retire today, was given a year's extension. Now to Pakistan, and the Pakistan Parliament in a joint sitting on Wednesday has passed a bill that will give Indian national Kulbhushan Jadhav the right to appeal against his conviction. The International Court of Justice Review and Reconsideration Bill 2020 was moved by Law Minister Farogh Naseem. It was passed with a majority vote. Mr. Jadhav, a retired Indian Navy officer, was sentenced to death by a Pakistani military court in April 2017. The International Court of Justice, in its judgment on July 17, 2019, had observed that Pakistan was under an obligation to provide means of its own choosing to effective review and reconsideration of the conviction and sentence of Mr. Jadhav. The ICJ had ruled that Pakistan was in breach of its international obligations because of the failure to provide consular access to Mr. Jadhav, and Pakistan claims that Mr. Jadhav was arrested from Balochistan in 2016 on charges of espionage. India has rejected Pakistan's allegation and said that he was kidnapped from the Iranian port of Chabahar. The Pakistan National Assembly had on June 10 this year adopted a bill to give the right of appeal to Kulbhushan Jadhav. With that, time for us to slip into a short break. We'll get you more news on the other side. Stay with us. Welcome back. News from Jammu and Kashmir, and the video of a young Kashmiri girl weeping over her father's killing during a security operation on Monday in Srinagar has been widely circulated on social media. The families of the businessmen who were killed in the operation earlier this week are demanding their bodies. The police meanwhile claim terror links for the killed businessmen. Here's a report.
मेरी कजन ने बोला उसको 3 बार ऊपर चढ़ाया, जो कजन उधर पे था, जो गवाही दे रहा था, जो ने देखा अपनी आंखों से, 3 बार उसको ऊपर चढ़ाया, 3 बार और 2 बार छोड़ा, तीसरी बार मार दिया। ये क्या मतलब होता है? वो कहाँ से आप लोग?
13-year-old daughter of Altaf Bhatt describes the moment she learnt about the killing of her father, a businessman who was shot dead in a controversial encounter on Monday evening. The video has been widely shared on social media. Families of both businessmen, Altaf Bhatt and Dr. Mudassir Gul, killed in the encounter, are demanding their bodies be returned. The police buried them over 100 kilometers away, citing law and order concerns.
मैं अपने हस्बैंड की डेड बॉडी मांग रही हूँ, बाकी मुझे कुछ नहीं। देखो मुझे मेरे हस्बैंड की शक्ल दिखाओ बस, हमें और कुछ नहीं, हम कुछ भी are not demanding anything, we are only demanding justice.
हमारी सिर्फ एक ही डिमांड है कि हमारे अपनी लाश है वापस दे दीजिए.
Former chief ministers protested as well.
और ये सरकार इतनी जालिम है कि मारने के बाद उनकी डेड बॉडीज भी नहीं दे रही है, तो हम यही कहते हैं कि ये सिलसिला नहीं चलेगा, इससे कश्मीर में हालात और खराब होंगे.
Omar Abdullah termed the denial of bodies to families for burial as a crime against humanity. And Farooq Abdullah spoke to Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha demanding an impartial probe. The family of one of the terrorists has alleged that the 24-year-old was innocent, that his father was an anti-terrorist crusader recognized by the army. But the police say that Amir was a hybrid terrorist, a term coined for those who are not listed as terrorists in police records. Police say they recovered 2 pistols from the encounter site.
After killing of 2 businessmen in a controversial encounter in Srinagar, it is a struggle for the families to get dead bodies and a right to bury their dead. In Srinagar, Nazir Masoodi for NDTV.
All right, and you saw in that report the families are protesting, but now in a late-night operation, the police swooped down on the protesting relatives of Dr. Mudassir Gul and Altaf Bhatt and removed them. They were forcibly removed from the protest site and taken into police vehicles. All right, well, let's go across to Nazir Masoodi now for more. Nazir, tell us, what's happened. Have they been, they've been taken away by security forces, and what are you hearing now?
Well, Gati, since yesterday morning, the families started protesting. They held a protest in Srinagar for a whole day. But they continued that till late last night and held a candlelight vigil demanding justice. What the justice for them means. As you heard the wife of Dr. Mudassir Gul saying, only thing she wants, return the body of her husband. She's saying she wants to see him one last time, touch his feet and seek forgiveness, give him a decent burial. And same is the demand of the family of Altaf Bhatt, a prominent businessman, in whose complex this encounter was, supposed encounter was conducted, and where 4 people, including, according to police, 2 militants and 2 of these businessmen were killed. But late last night in a police operation, as you can see in the visuals, police are coming and electricity was snapped in the area. They were possibly removed from their, put in the armored vehicles, and then, according to family, they were sent back to their homes. Before that, police operation, police action, as police officer visited the grieving and protesting relatives and told them that she has been asked by a senior police officer, IGP Kashmir, that the bodies will be returned. But the family said, please give us it in writing, because they were innocent people, they have been killed, their bodies should be returned. What the officer told them, according to family, he will get back to them after a while, after talking to the. But what came back was police trucks, armored police vehicles, and the armored policemen, as you can see in the visuals, removing the grieving and the protesting relatives from the protest site where they were holding a candlelight vigil last night. So families are saying they will continue to protest, and what they are asking for the return of the bodies. Former Chief Minister Umar Abdullah, as we showed in the story, is saying it's a crime against the humanity when you are denying the body to a family and denying them to perform the last rites of a dead person. And that is the real issue. What should have been normally happened, there should have been a independent and impartial probe, because this encounter has become highly controversial. Out of 3 families have come forward and saying their relatives are innocent people who have been killed, what they say staged encounter. For example, besides these 2 businessmen, there's another person from the Ramban who has been an anti-militancy crusader, Abdul Latif Magre, who has got the army's commendation letters, who has got all the awards for fighting militancy. He's saying his son has been killed in a stage encounter. He was an innocent man. In fact, in the same complex, Magre's daughter and his son-in-law were also working with this Altaf Bhatt at Altaf Bhatt's this office. And this man, the other person who police said is a hybrid militant, Amir Magre. So he was working as an office boy, according to at Dr. Mudassir Gul's office. So if we see at least 3 people among the 4 who have been killed in this encounter were working in the same complex, and they are saying, but the families are saying, please go and see the CCTV footage, and that may help the investigation to see what exactly was happening. Was Amir working there, or he was some terrorist, according to police? So those are the questions, but we have to see whether the bodies will be returned to the families now.
All right, Nazir, and we can see how those families were taken away from the protest sites. A lot of questions over this entire encounter that took place and exactly who the men were, the families they're protesting and saying they want an inquiry, they want their bodies back for now. Time for a break now. Coming up on the other side, the Punjab Chief Minister Charanjit Singh Channi along with his ministers will be part of a group that will visit the Gurdwara in Kartarpur. Welcome back. Now, every Friday, Hindu organizations protest against the open Friday prayers in Gurugram, sometimes raising religious slogans and sometimes pouring cow dung cakes at the place of prayer. In view of this, many Hindus of Gurugram are offering their place to Muslims for Friday prayers. Sikhs are offering Gurudwara space for the Friday namaz. My colleague Saurabh Shukla with this ground report.
हम इस वक्त गुड़गांव के सदर बाजार के गुरुद्वारे में खड़े हुए हैं और आप सोच रहे होंगे कि हम गुरुद्वारे में क्यों खड़े हुए हैं और वो भी गुड़गांव में। आपने देखा होगा पिछले कुछ हफ्तों से गुड़गांव में जुमे की नमाज जो जमात में यानी साथ में पढ़ी जाती है, खुले में होती है, उसको लेकर के विवाद चल रहा है। जहां नमाज पढ़ी जा रही थी कई स्थानों पर गोबर के उपले रख दिए गए, विश्व हिंदू परिषद के लोग और दूसरे हिंदू संगठनों के लोग वहां पर आकर के पूजा अर्चना करने लग गए। कई जगह आकर के धार्मिक नारे लगाए गए और मुसलमानों को नमाज नहीं पढ़ने दी गई, जबकि प्रशासन ने उसकी इजाज़त दी हुई थी। प्रशासन की इजाज़त के बाद वहाँ नमाज पढ़ी जा रही थी। सिद्धू साहब, आपको क्यों लगा अंदर से कि जब ये नमाज पढ़ने नहीं दी जा रही तो गुरुद्वारा खोल दिया जाए? क्या भावना है आपकी?
इसमें भावना की कोई बात नहीं है। देखो, हमने तो देश का माहौल बचा के रखना, भाईचारा बचा के रखना। एक समुदाय जो मुस्लिम भाई है, इनको आप कहीं भी जगह नहीं देंगे नमाज पढ़ने की। किसी ना किसी को तो आगे आना होगा अगर देश को बचाना है तो। और इसमें कोई हर्ज भी नहीं है। देखो, गुरु घर जितने भी, चाहे मंदिर हो, मस्जिद हो, गुरुद्वारा हो, हर एक धर्म जाति के लिए होते हैं। गुरु घर में कोई मुसलमान भाई नमाज पढ़ने आता है, दे आर मोस्ट वेलकम, हम मना भी नहीं करेंगे। हिंदू भाई भी आते हैं, पाठ पूजा के लिए आते हैं, इबादत के लिए आते हैं, कोई भी आता है, दे आर मोस्ट वेलकम। ये जगह बनी इबादत के लिए।
सिद्धू साहब और अक्षय जैसे लोगों के लिए क्या कहेंगे, क्या फरमाएंगे?
इनके लिए तो बस अल्फाज नहीं है कि जिस तरह से इनके लिए यानी इनकी मुबारकबाद के लिए वो अल्फाज नहीं बने हैं जो इन्होंने एक बड़प्पन दिखाया है और दिल बड़ा करा है। मैं कहता हूं कि ऐसे ही होना चाहिए। सेक्टर 12 के अंदर जब अक्षय राव साहब से हमारी बात हुई और उन्होंने ये कहा कि आप हमारे घर में नमाज पढ़ो, क्या दिक्कत है, आपको चौक पे नमाज पढ़ने से मना कर रहे हैं? तो मैंने कहा नहीं, घर में दिक्कत होगी तो कहने लगे हॉस्पिटल में रहा है, उसके छत पे पढ़ लो। मैं कहा नहीं, उसमें भी थोड़ा सा डिस्टर्ब हो सकते हैं लोग आएंगे नमाज पढ़ेंगे। उन्होंने पर्सनली अपनी एक दुकान की चाबी दे दी और कहा कि ये आपके नमाज के लिए है। इसके बराबर में सर्विस स्टेशन है, उसमें भी आप नमाज पढ़ सकते हैं, वो भी मेरा है।
ऑन फ्राइडे यू विल सी मुस्लिम्स ऑफरिंग नमाज इन दिस गुरुद्वारा इन गुड़गांव as the people in Gurdwara, they are open to it, and several other Hindus are also coming forward and giving a strong message to administration that administration has totally failed. Now they are out and they are supporting the cause and they are trying to save the constitution and unity of the country. In Gurgaon, with Sudhish Kumar Ram, Saurabh Shukla for NDTV.
Now, even as Delhi is facing a massive pollution crisis and the matter is being heard by the Supreme Court as well, in Punjab, the Punjab government has said they will cancel all police cases against farmers who burn stubble or agriculture waste. Chief Minister Charanjit Channi said as nearby Delhi and the national capital region lies smothered under a toxic and poisonous haze that has been linked to these fires partially. The decision comes months before an assembly election in which farmers will play a major role. The Chief Minister also said cases filed during such protests will also be dropped. Now, Punjab Chief Minister Charanjit Singh Channi along with his ministers will be part of a jatha, that's a group which will visit the Gurdwara Darbar Sahib in Kartarpur, Pakistan today. Some MLAs and officials are also expected to accompany Channi. The pilgrimage to Kartarpur Sahib Gurdwara had been suspended in March 2020 due to the COVID pandemic. Well, let's go across to NDTV's Well, let's go across to Akshay now for more. And Akshay, tell us when this crossing will take place, when the Chief Minister along with members of his cabinet will be going to Kartarpur.
Well, Gargi, all the preparation seems to be in the order. We are here outside Kartarpur corridor and you can see all security officials are present here. As far as the timing of Chief Minister Charanjit, Channi and his entire cabinet being part of the first jatha to Kartarpur corridor is concerned, they will be coming here somewhere around 10 to 11 a.m. And then after that, they will be taking the Kartarpur corridor, crossing into Pakistan, paying their obeisance at Darbar Sahib Gurdwara, and then after meeting the delegates of the Pakistani community who are present there to welcome the pilgrims, they will return back. Certainly, sentiments and the religious sentiments have been attached to this place, and a lot of politics has also been done. So today, mostly politicians, as far as the lot is concerned, of people who are allowed to cross into Pakistan. Just moments back, it was BJP state president Ashwini Sharma who crossed into Punjab, and in some time there will be other politicians as well, including the cabinet ministers, the chief minister who will be coming here. This is a procedure. You enter from these gates, and then there is an immigration office inside this particular area, after which your documents will be checked, which include your passport, your RT-PCR negative report of COVID-19, then your vaccination certificate, and another copy and a hard copy of your Aadhaar card. So the registration needs to be done online, and this is the entire procedure. But as far as today's pilgrims are concerned, it will comprise mostly of the cabinet minister, chief minister, and certain politicians of Punjab. So some sort of politics is also expected, because there has been a lot of demands by politicians of Punjab to reopen the Kartarpur corridor. It was a delegation by the BJP Punjab that met Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah, and they requested Kartarpur corridor to be reopened, and it is barely 2 days ahead of the Guru Purab, when Kartarpur corridor has been reopened for the devotees and the pilgrims.
All right. Thanks so much, Akshay, for joining us there. So Kartarpur corridor opens today, and the Chief Minister along with ministers will be a part of the first jatha. Hello and welcome. You're watching Good Morning India. I'm Gargi Raut. Our top story: new satellite images tweeted out by a global researcher on Chinese military development show purported construction of Chinese villages in Bhutanese territory. The area lies on disputed land between Bhutan and China near Doklam that showed construction activity in the period between 2020 and 2021. Vishu Shrom has more details.
In fact, the India-China boundary dispute very, very closely, and also the entire region, including Bhutan, who's accessed high-resolution satellite images. Let's change the image. This is for the Intel Lab. The Intel Lab is a collection of some very OSINT workers who look at intelligence science, who look at satellite imagery, and piece together what they are seeing on the basis of that. And the bottom line over here is that India has been a net security provider for Bhutan, but that situation started changing over the last several years. In 2017, India and China had a standoff in the Doklam region, which is just a little to the southwest of this particular area, where China has sliced off a massive amount of the land of Bhutan in territory which it claims but Bhutan disputes. But in 2017, India and China had the Doklam dispute. India stopped China's road building activity, but that didn't appear to stop China at all. Last year we reported about how the Chinese had bypassed Indian defenses to have road and village construction a short distance away, cutting through Bhutanese territory. There are also clear signs now that Thimphu has had no option and that they've given in to what China has demanded, that there is some sort of a larger agreement which has been reached. What is that larger agreement? What are the contours of that? We do not know.
Well, let's now go across to where the Prime Minister is delivering the keynote address of the Sydney dialogue.
Law, rights and security. It is reshaping international competition, power and leadership. It has ushered in a new era of opportunities for progress and prosperity. But we also face new risks and new forms of conflicts across diverse threats from seabed to cyber to space. Technology has already become a major instrument of global competition and key to shaping the future international order. Technology and data are becoming new weapons. The biggest strength of democracy is openness. At the same time, we should not allow a few vested interests to misuse this openness. Friends, as a democracy and a digital leader, India is ready to work with partners for our shared prosperity and security. India's digital revolution is rooted in our democracy, our demography, and the scale of our economy. It is powered by enterprise and innovation of our youth. We are turning the challenges of the past into an opportunity to take a leap into the future. There are 5 important transitions taking place in India. 1, we are building the world's most extensive public information infrastructure. Over 1.3 billion Indians have a unique digital identity. We are on our way to connect 600,000 villages with broadband. We have built the world's most efficient payment infrastructure, the UPI. Over 800 million Indians use internet. 750 million are on smartphones. We are one of the largest consumer of data per capita and have one of the cheapest data in the world. 2, we are transforming the lives of the people by using digital technology for governance, inclusion, empowerment, connectivity, delivery of benefits and welfare. Everyone has heard of India's financial inclusion, banking, and digital payment revolution. Recently, we have used technology to deliver over 1.1 billion doses of vaccines across India's vast geography using Arogya Setu and COVID platforms. We are also building a national digital health mission for affordable and universal health care for our billion-plus people. Our One Nation, One Card will deliver benefits to the hundreds of millions of workers anywhere in the country. 3, India has the world's 3rd largest and fastest growing startup ecosystem. New unicorns are coming up every few weeks. They are providing solutions to everything from health and education to national security. 4, India's industry and services sectors, even agriculture, are undergoing massive digital transformation. We are also using digital technology for clean energy transition, conversion of resources, and protection of biodiversity. 5. There is a large effort to prepare India for the future. We are investing in developing indigenous capabilities in telecom technology such as 5G and 6G. India is one of the leading nations in artificial intelligence and machine learning, especially in human-centered and ethical use of artificial intelligence. We are developing strong capabilities in cloud platforms and cloud computing. This is key to resilience and digital sovereignty. We are building world-class capabilities in quantum computing. India's space program is a vital part of our economy and security. It is now open to innovation and investment for the private sector. India is already a major center for providing cybersecurity solutions and services to corporates around the world. We have set up a task force with our industry to make India a global hub for cybersecurity. We have the benefit of our skills and global trust. And now we are focusing on hardware. We are preparing a package of incentives to become a key manufacturer of semiconductors. Our production-linked incentive schemes in electronics and telecom are already attracting local and global players. To set up base in India, friends, the greatest product of technology today is data. In India, we have created a robust framework of data protection, privacy, and security. And at the same time, we use data as a source of empowerment of people. India has unmatched experience in doing this in a democratic framework with strong guarantees of individual rights. Friends, how a nation uses technology is linked to its values and vision. India's democratic traditions are old. Its modern institutions are strong. And we have always believed in the world as one family. India's IT talent helped to create the global digital economy. It helped cope with the Y2K problem. It has contributed to the evolution of technologies and services we use in our daily lives. Today, we offer our CoWIN platform to the entire world free and made it open source software. India's extensive experience with use of technology and policy for public good, including development and social empowerment, can be of great help to the developing world. We can work together to empower nations and their people and prepare them for the opportunities of this century. That is also important for building a future of this world that reflects our democratic ideals and values. That is as important as our own national security and prosperity. Friends, it is therefore essential for democracies to work together, to invest together in research and development in future technology, to develop trusted manufacturing base and trusted supply chains, to deepen intelligence and operational cooperation on cyber security, protect critical information infrastructure, to prevent manipulation of public opinions, to develop technical and governance standards and norms consisting with our democratic values, and to create standards and norms for data governance and for cross-border flow that protect and secure data. It should also recognize national rights and at the same time promote trade, investment and larger public good. Take cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, for example. It is important that all democratic nations work together on this and ensure it does not end up in wrong hands which can spoil our youth. Friends, we are at a historic moment of choice, whether all the wonderful powers of technology of our age will be instruments of cooperation or conflict, coercion or choice, domination or development, operation or opportunity. India, Australia and our partners in the Indo-Pacific region and beyond hear the call of our times. And we are prepared to rise to fulfill our responsibilities. I am confident that the Sydney Dialogue will be a wonderful platform to help us shape our partnership for this age and fulfill our responsibility to the future of our nations and the world. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, the big issue in the national capital is the air pollution crisis. The Supreme Court has taken up the matter and asked for an emergency plan from the government. Now, this is an annual crisis, and we see in Delhi that requires long-term measures. Well, we're now joined by two young boys who are doing their bit to fight air pollution and waste in Delhi. Vihan and Nav Agarwal, who are 17 and 14 years old, received the 2021 Kids Right International Children's Peace Prize for developing an initiative to segregate recyclables and organic pickups for trash from thousands of homes. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us on the program today. And I just want to tell our viewers that earlier winners of this prestigious award have included environmental activist Greta Thunberg and Nobel laureate Malala Yousafzai. So thank you for joining us on the show this morning, and tell us a bit about your this effort that you made. Vihan, first to you, if you could tell us about the effort.
Thank you so much for having us. Yes, so basically our initiative called One Step Greener works around three primary aspects. The first is teaching people the importance of waste segregation and teaching them how to segregate their waste, which is very important. After education, we realized that the current waste management system was actually ending up in the landfill even if you segregated your waste. So therefore, we have monthly and now bi-monthly door-to-door waste pickup of recyclables that we take from people's homes, take it to our warehouse where we micro-segregate it into categories. So, for example, if you give us paper, we segregate it into A4 size paper, newspaper, etc. Then aggregate those micro-categories and give directly to certified recyclers, not only by the PCB and the government, but also through us where we do surprise checks on them to ensure 100% of the waste that we get is actually recycled. And we also realize that, when we're addressing the root cause, because almost 30% of Delhi's air pollution is either directly or indirectly contributed by waste, that we also needed to work towards the effects of it. Because even if we stop our emissions now, there's so much carbon in the atmosphere that it's still going to cause climate change, right? So because of that, we do urban afforestation where we've planted in groves over 2,000 native indigenous trees inside Delhi.
Well, wonderful to see this effort. Now, if you could also tell us a bit about, why is it that you felt so strongly, you're going out of your way, a time that you could have spent, playing video games, meeting friends that you spend on this effort. So if you could tell us, how did you get so passionate about helping tackle the pollution crisis?
Right. So this started in 2017 and basically one of the world's largest landfills, the Ghazipur landfill, which is 65 meters tall, collapsed, caught on fire, killed 2 people and released tons of toxic gases. And, we always wanted to do something for the environment because we saw the tremendous impact it was having on our health. Because my brother is asthmatic, every year as the air pollution worsened, so did his health. And that's, after we learned that, waste directly contributes to air pollution, that's when it really struck for us that, yes, it is a really big issue and we really need to tackle it.
No, absolutely. And this, this waste issue and this landfill that is there, even at NDTV here, we've reported on it extensively over years and years, but it's still there. It's still such a huge cause of concern and, a source of pollution. And as you said, it's a hazard as well for people. And Vehan, what do you feel that, even though we all know this is a problem, media has reported it, you young kids are doing something about it, the government knows it's a problem, but yet it seems we can't do anything about this landfill. It's still, it's still there and garbage is still thrown in it.
I think it's a systematic issue. I think the systems themselves are broken. There are all kinds of mafias along with waste. Now, we've been working in waste. We've been exposed to the mafias in waste. And, there are different problems in the system. So, even if you segregate your waste, and which is mandated by the government, the waste is mixed up during the process. So, these systematic issues also, obviously, there are no private players directly involved in the picking up of waste or recycling. And, to the extent that, our recyclers, our homegrown factories, etc., who are recycling waste are actually importing waste from other countries. So I think the systematic issue is to get the waste from people's homes in a clean and segregated way to the recyclers. And I think that's the gap we're filling. And that's, again, that's the source of the problem.
All right. Well, great to know you've given it so much thought and, had an experience. You can actually tell us about some of the, issues and obstacles that you face. Now, are you hopeful that given year after year we report on this pollution crisis and we talk about various measures, you have the Supreme Court getting involved, are you hopeful that, maybe in the years to come, maybe a few years from now, we will actually be able to tackle this issue?
Yes, I'm certainly hopeful because I have definitely seen a change in people's behavior as the pollution crisis has become worse. And I'm seeing a lot more people being more conscious about themselves, about the impact and the carbon footprint they have on the planet. So yes, I am hopeful about the fact that, in a couple of years, I feel that the pollution crisis could really become better.
Well, let's really hope so. Vehan, what would you like to say on this?
Yes, for sure. I agree with Nav, but I think more actionable steps have to be taken to cut the problem from the source and not, allow the waste to actually end up in the landfill or, the air pollution to begin at, so once the problem is cut from the source, then definitely I am hopeful. But till that happens, then it is unlikely.
All right. Well, thank you so much, for joining us on the program, and more power to you, and hope you inspire more young people to get involved, because we complain about things, but very often we don't actually get involved and try to do something about it. So it's great to see 2 young men like you trying to do something about the pollution crisis. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome back. Punjab Chief Minister Charanjit Singh Channi along with his ministers will be a part of a jatha which will be visiting the Gurdwara Darbar Sahib in Kartarpur in Pakistan today. Some of MLAs and officials are also going to be accompanying the Chief Minister. Well, let's go across to Akshay now, who joins us from there. And Akshay, this Kartarpur corridor had actually been suspended due to the coronavirus pandemic in 2020. So it was a big demand and, asking for it to be reopened. And today, the first jatha will be leaving or has left. Give us the latest. All right, we will try and reconnect there with Akshay, but as we said, the Punjab Chief Minister will be a part of the first group that will be going across the Kartarpur corridor to the Gurdwara Darbar Sahib in Pakistan. As we said, the Kartarpur Sahib Gurdwara pilgrimage was suspended in March 2020 due to the COVID pandemic. It had been something that had been demanded for some time that it should be reopened, and the corridor is being reopened for Prakash Parv of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So it's coming just ahead of that. The Chief Minister along with his cabinet and various leaders will be going. Navjot Singh Sidhu, however, will not be going today. He'll be going a day or two later is what we've been told. But the Punjab Chief Minister there going to be a part of that jatha. Let's go back to Akshay for more. Akshay, tell us what's happening.
Well, I would like to first show you exactly what is happening here. This entrance that you see is of the Kartarpur corridor, the 4.7 kilometer corridor, which grants you entry into Pakistan, where the pilgrims can actually they can walk up to Darbar Sahib Gurdwara, they can pay their obeisance and then come back. Here there are certain pilgrims as well. We would like to speak to them and try to understand that what exactly is the feeling like that they have gotten chance to actually go to Pakistan and go and pay their obeisance. So first of all, there are certain pilgrims that we would like to speak with. Madam, आप लोग जा रहे हैं, आप लोगों को मौका मिला है, कैसा लग रहा है, कितने लोग आप लोग जा रहे हैं?
हम लोग 4 लोग जा रहे हैं। बहुत खुशी हुई है। कल परमिशन के लिए अप्लाई किया था और परमिशन मिल गई थी, तो आज दर्शन करने के लिए बहुत खुशी हुई है।
क्या क्या प्रोसीजर था मैम, आप बता पाएंगे अगर तो क्या प्रोसीजर था, कैसे कितने टाइम से होप कर रहे थे?
हमने परसों से अप्लाई किया था। हमारा प्रोसीजर यही थी कि पासपोर्ट अप्लाई करना है, सेकंड फोटो कॉपी, बस यही प्रोसीजर था।
हम लोग को इनविटेशन आया था और उन्होंने पूछा था कि डॉक्यूमेंटेशन है, तो हम लोग ने डॉक्यूमेंटेशन अपने सेंड किए और ऊपर से परमिशन आ गई थी। तो
क्या फीलिंग, सेंटिमेंट क्या है?
फीलिंग बहुत अच्छी है। जो इतने सालों से अंदर थी, इच्छा थी जाने की, वो बहुत बख्शी से पूरी हुई है। गुरु नानक के दर पे जा रहे हैं और अरदास है कि ये हमेशा से अभी जैसे खुला है आगे भी खुला रहे और इसी तरह से संगत दर्शन करते हैं, आपसी प्यार एक दूसरे से मिलता रहे और आगे भी मिले, और अच्छा लग रहा है।
तो आपके साथ और भी लोग होंगे जिनसे आपकी बात हुई होगी, मतलब आस पड़ोस के लोग?
क्या अप्लाई तो काफ़ी लोगों ने किया था, लेकिन
कहाँ से आए आप?
हम लोग अनंतपुर साहिब से आए हैं, पंजाब से अनंतपुर साहिब से। तो हम लोगों को फैमिली में 4 लोगों को परमिशन मिली है, तो बस सुबह से निकले हुए हैं, तो बहुत अच्छी खुशी।
बस जाने वाले पाकिस्तान फिर आप?
बस जाने वाले हैं, अल्लाह से शुक्रिया।
So you can see the smile on faces of these people. They are clearly very happy that they have gotten chance, they have gotten permission to actually go to Pakistan and pay their obeisance at Darbar Sahib Gurdwara. In approximately an hour's time, Chief Minister Charanjit Channi will also be reaching here along with his entire cabinet. However, the first group to actually go to Darbar Sahib through Kartarpur corridor was of the BJP leaders of Punjab with the BJP chief of Punjab Ashwini Sharma, who along with some of other leaders got permission, and they also made a point that they are the first ones to go. आप भी जा रही है मैडम? जा रही है? So there are a lot of people who want to actually talk to these pilgrims, because these are some of the first people who have actually gotten chance to access the Kartarpur corridor, and everyone is hoping that after approximately 20 months of staying shut, the Kartarpur corridor has finally reopened and it stays that way so that other pilgrims can actually get a chance to visit the holy shrine of the Sikhs.
Right, Akshay, thanks so much for joining us. Welcome back. Now, every Friday, Hindu organizations have protested against the open Friday prayers in Gurugram, sometimes raising slogans and sometimes even pouring cow dung cakes at the place of the prayer, which is usually a plot which has been designated as the namaz site. Now, in view of this, many people of Gurugram are offering their place to Muslims for Friday prayers. Sikhs are offering a Gurdwara space for them to offer namaz. My colleague Saurabh Shukla reports.
हम इस वक्त गुड़गांव के सदर बाजार के गुरुद्वारे में खड़े हुए हैं और आप सोच रहे होंगे कि हम गुरुद्वारे में क्यों खड़े हुए हैं, और वो भी गुड़गांव में। आपने देखा होगा पिछले कुछ हफ्तों से गुड़गांव में जुमे की नमाज जो जमात में यानी साथ में पढ़ी जाती है, खुले में होती है, उसको लेकर के विवाद चल रहा है। जहाँ नमाज पढ़ी जा रही थी, कई स्थानों पर गोबर के उपले रख दिए गए। विश्व हिंदू परिषद के लोग और दूसरे हिंदू संगठनों के लोग वहाँ पर आकर के पूजा अर्चना करने लग गए। कई जगह आकर के धार्मिक नारे लगाए गए और मुसलमानों को नमाज नहीं पढ़ने दी गई, जबकि प्रशासन ने उसकी इजाज़त दी हुई थी। प्रशासन की इजाज़त के बाद वहाँ नमाज पढ़ी जा रही थी। सिद्धू साहब, आपको क्यों लगा अंदर से कि जब ये नमाज पढ़ने नहीं दी जा रही तो गुरुद्वारा खोल दिया जाए? क्या भावना है आपकी?
इसमें भावना की कोई बात नहीं है। देखो, हमने तो देश का माहौल बचा के रखना, भाईचारा बचा के रखना। एक समुदाय जो मुस्लिम भाई है, इनको आप कहीं भी जगह नहीं देंगे नमाज पढ़ने की। किसी ना किसी को तो आगे आना होगा अगर देश को बचाना है तो। और इसमें कोई हर्ज भी नहीं है। देखो, गुरु घर जितने भी, चाहे मंदिर हो, मस्जिद हो, गुरुद्वारा हो, हर एक धर्म जाति के लिए होते हैं। गुरु घर में कोई मुसलमान भाई नमाज पढ़ने आता है, दे आर मोस्ट वेलकम, हम मना भी नहीं करेंगे। हिंदू भाई भी आते हैं, पाठ पूजा के लिए आते हैं, इबादत के लिए आते हैं, कोई भी आता है, दे आर मोस्ट वेलकम। ये जगह बनी इबादत के लिए।
सिद्धू साहब और अक्षय जैसे लोगों के लिए क्या कहेंगे, क्या फरमाएंगे?
इनके लिए तो बस अल्फाज नहीं है कि जिस तरह से इनके लिए, यानी इनकी मुबारकबाद के लिए वो अल्फाज नहीं बने हैं जो इन्होंने एक बड़प्पन दिखाया है और दिल बड़ा करा है। मैं कहता हूं कि ऐसे ही होना चाहिए। सेक्टर 12 के अंदर जब अक्षय राव साहब से हमारी बात हुई और उन्होंने ये कहा कि आप हमारे घर में नमाज पढ़ो, क्या दिक्कत है, आपको चौक में नमाज पढ़ने से मना कर रहे हैं? तो मैंने कहा नहीं, घर में दिक्कत होगी तो कहने लगे हॉस्पिटल में रहा है, उसके छत पे पढ़ लो। मैं कहा नहीं, उसमें भी थोड़ा सा डिस्टर्ब हो सकते हैं, लोग आएंगे, नमाज पढ़ेंगे। उन्होंने पर्सनली अपनी एक दुकान की चाबी दे दी और कहा कि ये आपके नमाज के लिए है। इसके बराबर में सर्विस स्टेशन है, उसमें भी आप नमाज पढ़ सकते हैं, वो भी मेरा है।
ऑन फ्राइडे यू विल सी मुस्लिम्स ऑफरिंग नमाज इन दिस गुरुद्वारा इन गुड़गांव as the people in Gurdwara, they are open to it, and several other Hindus are also coming forward and giving a strong message to administration that administration has totally failed. Now they are out and they are supporting the cause and they are trying to save the constitution and unity of the country. In Gurgaon, with Sudesh Kumar Ram, Saurabh Shukla for NDTV.